This movie has a lot of controversy around it, but is it good? Unfortunately, no. It's certainly different, and we'll get into it. But first, I gotta make an announcement since this is a new movie that's still in theaters. So here we go. Spoilers, spoilers, spoilers. If you haven't seen this yet, beware of spoilers! You have officially been warned. Okay, now back to the review. So in this version, Snow White is kind of an angry person sometimes. She challenges the evil queen directly about her policies while she's having a meal, she gets involved in a rebellion, and she even gets snarky with the dwarves. Oh yeah, the dwarves. Woof. These guys are scary and really look like computer effect monsters. Also, the dwarves are pretty immature in this movie. For example, they start a food fight. In this movie, the song Whistle While You Work happens because the dwarves start a food fight and Snow White tells them to clean up. Also, one of the other dwarves bullies Dopey. What is going on? That gets me to the songs, I guess. They mess with the Whistle While You Work song and also the Hi Ho song. Like Hi Ho has a lot more words and some gags. Also, they add in some songs. They have a song called Good Things Grow that's about like the theme of the movie, I guess. There's one called Waiting on a Wish where Snow White sings about becoming a leader, which is not like the original Snow White at all. There's one called All Is Fair that is like an evil song for the queen, and it's extremely silly. There's a love song for Snow White and this Jonathan guy that I already forgot, and a song called Princess Problems where Jonathan tells Snow White to check her privilege. Huh? Why is there a song about that in this movie? It makes Jonathan look like an idiot jerk. None of the new songs fit in the movie very well, and they changed the old songs to make them less good. Also, they did not include I'm Wishing or Someday My Prince Will Come. So this Jonathan guy is not a prince, but he's the love interest guy for Snow White in this movie. He gets in trouble at the beginning because of stealing food like he's Aladdin or something. Snow White helps him get free and gives him food. Then later in the movie, after she meets the dwarves, Snow White runs into Jonathan in the forest and he sings the Princess Problem song in Oy Vey. I'm Sir Dinosaur from Planet X, and if you tried to sing that song to a girl dinosaur, you'd get tail slapped and you'd deserve it. I guess this movie was trying to have Jonathan lecture Snow White about how she doesn't have real problems because she's a princess, which is really bizarre. This Jonathan guy is not the prince, but he does all the stuff that the prince does in the original movie. He sings with Snow White, they fall in love, and he kisses her after she falls into a coma because of the poisoned apple. Also, the Jonathan guy has these bandits that follow him, and there are 7 of them. I kind of wonder if they wanted to make a movie that was like Snow White and the 7 bandits instead of Snow White and the 7 dwarves. So like they made the bandit version and did some test screenings, and people were like, what the heck is this? So the money people were like, uh-oh, time to put in some scenes with dwarves in them. The end is also a little odd. Snow White goes back to the castle in order to challenge the queen's rule, and the queen is going to have her executed, but Snow White reminds the guards that are going to kill her that she knows who they are and what their life stories are. And so they decide, oh, we were going to totally murder you in front of a lot of people, but now we're not going to do that because Snow White remembered her bullet point list of notes about each of us. That's a pretty big change of mindset, honestly, and I don't think I buy it. Also, the queen breaks the magic mirror at the end and stuff, and she gets sucked into the magic mirror or something as she dies. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but that reminds me, this movie fumbled the bag with the actual premise of the story, like what the movie's about. See, the whole thing with the magic mirror is that the queen says, magic mirror on the wall, who is the fairest one of all? And the mirror says, not you, haha. And the queen tries to murder Snow White since she's younger and prettier. But when it comes to Snow White, the mirror gives this long explanation in this movie that Snow White is fairer than her because she's kind and just. But then I'm like, wait, the mirror is holding these women to 2 different standards. In this movie, does the fairest of them all refer to being beautiful or to being a nice person who treats people the way they'd want to be treated? This movie somehow manages to get that wrong. I think that's because the people who made this movie are very confused. I wonder if they understand that in the original, there's a clear set of values. Being vain and jealous and trying to murder people, like the evil queen does, are bad things. Being sweet and helpful and encouraging your friends to take care of themselves, like Snow White does, are good things. The movie from 90 years ago is clear about all of this, and if you pay attention to it, you realize that the prince and dwarves may first notice Snow White because of her beauty, but they keep wanting to spend time with her because of who she is as a person. Her outside beauty is just a detail, but her inside beauty is what's important. Now, I realize that there's a lot of controversy about this movie. Some people think the Snow White actress isn't pale enough. Some people think the Snow White actress is obnoxious in interviews. Some people don't like the Snow White actress's politics. Some people don't like how the Snow White actress talked smack about the movie from 90 years ago. Man, people really don't like the Snow White actress. Maybe they should have cast somebody else. Some people don't like the evil queen actress's politics. Some people saw behind the scenes photos of the 7 bandits and thought there wouldn't be dwarves in the movie at all. Some people don't like how they had computer effect dwarves instead of actual little people acting in the movie. Some people don't like how the story is super different in this one. Some people don't like how the attitude of the story seemed very different in all of the trailers. And some people don't like the company that made the movie for a whole lot of reasons and wanted to fail. I kind of feel bad for a lot of people who worked on this movie. They probably spent a lot of time on it, maybe losing some sleep and missing their kid's soccer game because they had to be on set for it, and then it gets so controversial before the movie even comes out, so it probably wasn't worth the trouble. The thing is, the movie's just not very good anyway. It feels like a hodgepodge of ideas from different people thrown together in a mishmash and coughed up like your lunch if you're choking and somebody gives you the Heimlich maneuver. I hear this movie is not doing very well and a lot of people don't like it. Hopefully, the movie people who made it and the other movie people who did not make it but are aware of it can learn from this Snow White movie's failure. Maybe next time the movie people at that company can just focus on making a simple story with good values and a cohesive vision. That way, the camera person who's not getting enough sleep or the props person who missed their kid's soccer game can at least be proud of their work and be excited that they're making something cool.